11:32. Notice of this meeting was given by sending sufficient notice herewith to the Home News Tribune, the Asbury Park Press, and the Jersey Journal, filing advance written notice of this meeting with the clerk administrator of each member, and posting a copy of the meeting notice of the public bulletin board of all members. I direct the secretary to enter into the minutes this meeting the advance written notice of this meeting and this statement. Okay, Glenn, roll call, please.
Commissioner Bellino,
Here.
Commissioner Delgado,
Yes.
Commissioner Julis, Commissioner Zanga,
Here.
Commissioner Heck. You have 3 out of the 5, Chair.
So that constitutes a quorum.
Yes.
So introduction of guests, who else should we be aware of?
I think general members from the public. I don't see any guests other than who's on the agenda.
Okay, so this one,
Glenn, we should also have the roll call of the consultants and professionals.
go ahead, you heard the legal advisor.
Barbara Murphy,
Here.
Glenn Kurtz, Leon Sokol, Scott
Here.
McCann, Joseph Monzo,
Here.
Nicole Longacre,
Here.
James Gote,
Here.
Louis Gote, Jonathan Jaffe,
Here.
Sean Kelly, Dominic Snelly, Robin Rassiopi,
Here.
Karen Waters,
Here.
Sean Walsh,
Here.
Michaeline Miller,
Here.
Cindy Vilgram.
Here.
Okay, that's fine.
And Commissioner Julis entered the meeting, Chair.
Thank you. Are we done with the roll call
Yes.
and introduction of guests? So at this point, I'd like to entertain a motion for the approval of September 24, 2020 open meeting minutes and the approval of September 24, 2024 closed meeting minutes. Do I hear a motion?
Motion, Frank. I'll do
Joe.
set. Okay. All right. We'll do second.
Commissioner Bellino,
Yes.
Commissioner Julis,
Yes.
Commissioner Zanga,
Yes.
Commissioner Delgado.
Yes. So we'll move right on to the reports. Executive Director, please, Barbara.
Good morning, everybody. Our report, we continue to work on the 23 audit. We are still on target to get that done before the end of the calendar year.
Recording in progress.
Sorry about that.
We also continue to work on the supplemental assessment receipts, as well as prepping the ledger for the 2025 fund year. And I will have more later on in the agenda as well as closed session.
Thank you, Barbara. Glenn, report of the administrator.
Yes, Chair, under the, or in the meeting agenda packet, automobile physical damage claims through October 17th, 35 in 2024 for 198,000, 2023, 43 for 166,000. Auto liability 28 for 146,000, in 2023, 15 for 46,000. General liability 33 claims for 355,000. In 2023, 70 claims for 555,000. Property damage 2024, 74,000, 2023, 84,748. Workers' comp 95 claims for 418,000. 2023, 147 claims for 1,559,000. And that's all I have at this time, Chair. The rest can be discussed and closed.
Thank you, Glenn. Let's move on to the Chief Financial Officer, Joe Monzo's report. Joe.
Good morning, good afternoon, whatever, it's still morning. Glenn sent my report out in management reports. The only change to the report is that I added at the bottom of the normal report, which shows the adopted budget, year-to-date activity and balance. I added, because we talk all the time about how much we're paying out in the given budget year for prior year claims. So I added a column that shows, or to the bottom of that report, for every fund year prior to 2024, how much we've paid in 2024 for those claim years. So just so you have that, in case you had a question about it. So every year, it was, going back to 92, we still have some workers' comp claims from 92 we're making payments on, all the way up through 2023. Those are all the payments that we have funded this year since January for all those prior fund years. And that's my report, Chair.
Thank you, sir. Now, safety and loss control, Mr. Gate.
Yes, good morning, everyone. The safety and health activities that we provided to the JIF in October was lockout tagout training at the city of New Brunswick. And we provided the completed right to know documentation for the city of New Brunswick and the New Brunswick Parking Authority. The documentation for the Borough South River is currently scheduled to be submitted to the borough on 10/29. So that will complete our task for the year. As far as the right to know, we provided with the packet couple of OSHA safety and health sheets, primarily carbon monoxide poisoning and seasonal influenza. The flu is pretty obvious, but the carbon monoxide is something that some of the local firefighters and whatever that we deal with are suggesting that we emphasize, because typically when we had the change in the time, fall ahead and, spring ahead, fall behind, people would change the batteries on these things. And now that we're no longer really doing that, it's a good time to remind people to go ahead and change batteries on the smoke alarms and whatever. Okay, that concludes my report unless someone has any questions.
No questions, Mr. Gate. Thank you, sir. Managed care, please.
Good morning, everyone.
any
Your savings and penetration report begins on page 16 of your agenda packet. Doesn't look like we have the year-to-date in there, so I'll just go ahead and summarize it for you. Your Qualcare has repriced 399 bills for the month of September with a network utilization rate of 100%. Did you have a question? I'm sorry.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, sorry.
Someone else
Which is absolutely amazing for the second month in a row. Total charges are reflected at $907,150, with the allowable charges being noted at $283,675. This equates to a total savings of $623,475, or 69%. Total intake cases for the month are set at 12, with 8 requiring additional medical intervention and 4 remaining in as report only till today. If you have any other questions.
Any questions on Nicole? Well, thank you very much for your report. I'll move on to member communications. Mr. Jaffe.
Hey, good morning, everybody. The big focus in the past month has been regarding the website upgrades. Right now, basically, this website's been designed to be search engine optimized, meaning that people can find it from wherever. But the key to it, the key to having a site that people can see and read, is that it needs to be regularly updated. So what we're going to be including on the site, with the board's approval, is we're going to create a news center. We spoke with the Department of Labor and Workforce Development, as well as OSHA, and they have a number of press releases and public information that they want to get out, and they're looking for vehicles in which to do it. So what we're going to do is start posting their information on our news page. Right now, the news page has on it updates on meetings. It has information about the RFPs. It has the press releases that we generate. But I believe that for there to be really robust search engine optimization, we need a lot more content. The intent is that we probably get 2 or 3 press releases, other public information, other resources from the state and federal government that we'll put on the site. We think by doing that, it will be a big benefit for our SEO and also give people another reason to visit the website. The other thing that we're working on is we're going to be doing we're going to be writing bios of commissioners, just whatever information you guys provide, and also we're going to be doing headshots of you for the website. I asked Glenn, I figured the best way to do this is the next time that we're meeting in person, whenever that meeting is, we're going to bring in a green screen and a photographer. We're going to take the photos there. We'll give you ample warning when we're going to do it, but that would really be the final part of the website outreach. And then that's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Jaffe. Any old business?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you. Then moving on to new business. Any new business?
Yes, we have the public hearing on the supplemental assessment for 2021 and 2022.
So that's correct. So at this time, I'll open up the floor for any comment on the supplemental assessments.
We just do the motion to open the public hearing, just so that we're formally.
Okay, so do I have a motion to open the public hearing on the supplemental assessment?
Motion, Frank?
Second, do I have a second? Joe, thank you.
Commissioner Bellino,
Yes.
Commissioner Drulis,
Yes.
Commissioner Zanga,
Yes.
Commissioner Delgado.
Yes. Okay, so the floor is open for public hearing, and anyone would like to address the commissioner specific to the supplemental assessments?
Pardon me, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
And, prior to opening the floor for public discussion, can I ask just that maybe our executive director, sorry to put you on spot, Barbara, just give us a quick summation of what it is we're doing here and why?
Barbara, please.
Sure. So we completed our the audit of the 2022 fund year, and based on that, when you take a look at the 2021 fund year and the 2022 fund year, they're both in a deficit position. 2021 is in a deficit position of $3,459,212 as of 12/31/22, and the 22 fund year is in a deficit position of $1,921,610. Dobie Department of Banking and Insurance, excuse me, has requested that we do a supplemental assessment based on the outcome of the audit, and that is why we are here today. You do have resolution 2024-23 in front of you, and it was also on the website, as well as Exhibit A and B, which substantiate the resolution.
So, question through the chair. We are actually taking this action at the prompting and pushing of our regulators.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Okay, and this is within the statutes that govern JIFs and how we're supposed to have a certain amount of cash on hand and to meet our obligations.
What Dobie wants to see is that when your audit is done, any deficit position is corrected immediately or as immediate as possible to bring your surplus into a positive or at least flat number. So that's why we're going through this exercise now. So we will look at it again when the 2023 audit is completed. We will take a look at that as well, and any corrective action that needs to be taken will be done at that time.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Again, I open up the public hearing on the supplemental assessment. Appreciate your background information, Barbara. Anyone?
This is Michael from Jamesburg. I see Charlie has his hand up, and I have a question or two.
Mike, I
don't see his hand up.
I can't see him from here, Glenn, so you have to tell me.
Oh,
He has his hand up in the.
Charlie has his hand, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Charlie, go ahead, please.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I did want to ask about this. So I'm hearing it's for 2 separate years. Can you tell me which entities are part of those 2 years?
Do you want the list, or it's in the exhibit A and B that is attached? So if you pull
Okay,
down,
under, okay, I see proposed resolution. I see exhibit. Okay, great. Yeah, I guess the other question is what led to this? Why? You know, what's your analysis of how the deficit was so high, almost $3.5 million for year 2021? And if I'm not mistaken, you've already done a special assessment for 2021. What is the sort of reason for this discrepancy?
the reasoning is because when the audit was done, the expenses that had to be paid out for claims, et cetera, were higher than the introduction of the budget that was initially struck at the beginning of the year. So, you know, you have your actuarial calculation, you have your insurance costs and your administrative costs. And then as the year goes on and you pay claims, if you haven't, if you trend not as good as you anticipated, then you have additional claims. If you trend better, then obviously you don't. So this is basically taking a look at how that year stood on its own. Remember, each year stands alone. How the year looks at the end of, for 21, this is how it looked at the end of 22, which would have been 24 months old.
Okay, and am I correct that there was already a special assessment for 2021 previously?
Correct, you are correct.
Okay, and do we have reason to fear that, you know, future years are going to be this far off? Is the trend continuing, or do we think changes have been made to the budget process or the actuarial, you know, calculations such that, you know, we won't be seeing figures this high in the future?
You mean new fund years, correct? Not
Yeah, it's
specifically
subsequent
to
years.
2021. Yes, that is certainly my intent, is to be able to better anticipate or expect what the losses will be and be better able to adjust appropriately. You know, we've had a lot of in these particular years, when you think of the timing of them and what's gone on in the state of New Jersey, as well as the world, quite honestly, with COVID and a lot of other things, there's a lot of reasons. And while the number is significant, there are several funds throughout the state which have also felt some anguish over the fact of how COVID has impacted the financials, as well as some other things that have gone on. So we're not necessarily alone in this process at this time.
Got it. Got it. Well, yeah, in my business, I've certainly learned that it's very difficult to predict the future and
Right.
Unwise if you can avoid it. But yeah, I get all this. I will say I'm on the website and I see 2 links. One is proposed resolution, the other is exhibit, but they both take me to the same document, and it does not name the fund members that this special assessment intends to be assessed against. So can you just tell us for the record, 2021 fund year, who all is in that? And then the same.
I'm sorry,
2022?
through the chair, this has devolved into a question answer session with our executive director. If I may, is that document somewhere available that can be put on screen or sent to Mr. Cradaville? Because there's other people who have questions.
I'll wait. It's Michael.
Michael,
sorry,
I
one of
knew
the
we'd get you
commissioners
back, and I'm so
isn't, but
happy
I
you're
think it's
here.
a fair question.
I'm sure you're happy.
So, Mr. Chairman, does anyone on the staff have this document that can be put on screen instead of us reading them into the?
Commissioner, I think it would be more appropriate if separate and apart from this session, which is devoted to just public comment and not questions and answers, that we'll get Charlie a list of the members in each year.
Well, it is on screen now. So, Mr. Cradaville, why don't you take a moment and make sure that you're satisfied with your question, and we'll go from there.
Thanks. I just took a screen screenshot of what's on the screen now. That's 2021. Can you show me 2022? That's a little bit harder to read, but I think I'll be able to zoom in on it. So let me just get a screenshot of that. This is the 2022. I see significantly less entities, and yeah, I think that answers all my questions. And yeah, I just wanted to close by saying there's nothing wrong with asking questions or answering questions. And if the board has nothing to hide, they should happily answer questions, especially when there's a special assessment like this. Thank you.
Mr. Cradaville, I resent that you think there's something to hide. I think you've seen the documents you've asked for very clearly and thoroughly. So you don't have to withdraw your comment. But please be careful in how you state things.
All right, anyone else?
Same to you.
Anyone else speaking to the supplemental assessment?
It's Michael. You want me to speak?
Yes, Michael, you have the floor.
Thank you. As per what Leon just said, I'll make public comments, not asking any questions. On September 28th, I sent Glenn an email. It was an Oprah request requesting various documents. I received 4 of the documents. It was 11 or 12 that I asked for, and haven't received them. So I'm going to make a statement. I'm going to the Government Records Council because, as you know, I'm a former commissioner and this happens far too often. The second statement is one of the Oprah requests was for the report that's supposed to go to Dobie about the plan involving the special assessments. If there is no plan, and we've been through this in the past, the commissioner should not be voting upon the resolution that has been submitted to Dobie. My recommendation is not to vote on anything unless that the statutory obligations have been met. And since it doesn't appear to be, that's going to be up for you and Leon to decide. But right now, I see not the statutory obligations have yet to be met. That's it.
Thank you, Michael. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, I suggest we do the best we can now that Mr. Capabianco has completed his thoughts, and albeit brief, Michael, I was impressed. Mr. Kurtz, through the chair, do you have knowledge of this request, and have we not met our obligation?
To the best of my understanding, we have met the obligation as set forth by the state, correct, Michael?
For the Oprah request.
For his Oprah request, there were a couple items I was waiting on with respects to a RFQ and a resolution with respects to the executive director, but anything relating to this deficit has been resolved. So,
do you have those documents now in hand that should have been transferred since September?
I do now have them, yes.
And have you sent them yet?
I will send them this afternoon.
Is there a reason they weren't sent?
I did not have them at the time, no.
And Mike, these were all immediately available documents under Oprah, so I should have had them like 2 or 3 days after the request.
I get it.
Contracts, resolutions, you know.
I get it. And you should have had them. And so I'm glad Glenn has them. He's going to send them to you. And if you don't, please call any of the commissioners and we'll make sure you get it. Not that we worry about you going to the state about Oprah. These are documents you should have and we want you to have them. The JIF wants all these documents to be available to all its previous fund year members, particularly those in good standing. On the second question, regarding a plan, a statutory requirement of a plan, through the chair to our council, can you please elaborate a little bit on what Mr. Capabianco is asking and whether we can satisfy that we are in compliance or we are not, or we need to do more discussion offline? Michael, why don't you restate the question?
Sure. It's the Administrative Code 11:15-3.16 supplemental assessments. Letter B, the Joint Insurance Fund Commissioners shall submit to the Commissioner and the Commissioner of the Department of Community Affairs a report of the cause of the funds or any accounts insufficiency, the assessments necessary to replenish it, and the steps taken to prevent a recurrence of such circumstances.
So I can assure you that being a part of a weekly call with our friends at Dobie and with Mr. Walsh leading it and our executive team, that not only have we provided all the information Dobie's requested, we have provided an abundance of planning, and we've been actually given the directives on how we are to plan to go forward. I don't know how to best demonstrate that to you, and I'll defer to our counsel for that.
Yeah. Mike, this is Leon. As Commissioner Jewell has just stated, we're in constant meetings and communication with the Department of Banking and Insurance, and are reporting to them on the status of how the claims that are currently pending are being handled. As you're well aware from the time you were a commissioner, this situation is aggravated by the delinquencies by former members who are refusing to pay, but yet continue to enjoy the coverage that they are entitled to on a per occurrence basis during the times that they were members, so that the current members are paying the obligations and the claims of former members who in effect have not paid the balance of their assessments. This is a situation that we are continuing to address to try to resolve without the time and expense of litigation. But at some point, as you will see from the minutes of last meeting, a resolution was passed authorizing litigation to be instituted against the former delinquent members. And that's going to be forthcoming very shortly if some of the negotiations that we're undertaking are not successful.
To further comfort Mr. Capabianco, what is the role of Department of Banking Insurance and in the municipal in our JIF? Is it oversight? What is that role that they have with us?
Is that question, Commissioner, to me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the statute gives and also the practice of the regulatory authority under the statute is primarily handled by the Department of Banking and Insurance. The DCA has concurrent jurisdiction, but the DCA has pretty much been passive and standing behind the Department of Banking and Insurance so far as regulatory authority. The one difference is, and this is frustrating for the department, if I can speak for the department, is the department's regulatory authority starts and ends with the joint insurance funds. It has no authority over the individual members.
Mr. Sokol, I'm sorry, I wasn't. My question is, I believe that this JIF has voluntarily submitted itself to some level of oversight by the Department of Banking and Insurance. Is that correct?
Yes.
So if we are under some type of oversight, does that not qualify that we are in fact providing all our plans and decisions and forward thinking to the Department of Banking and Insurance?
Yes, we've been totally transparent, and every bit of information that the department has required, has been provided.
And Mr. Walsh, as our auditor, not to put you on the spot, but here we go. Is it your sense that Department of Banking Insurance is satisfied with the level of information we've been providing them?
Yes, yeah, as you mentioned, Mike, we're on weekly meetings. We've been in constant contact with you. Even outside of those meetings, Glenn and I talk 2 or 3 times a week, if not more. I've had several conversations with Barbara. And so, yeah, I would say everything that you and Leon have said is absolutely 100% corroborated by me. We have gotten the information we need. I say that as someone contracted by the department. And we are, again, continuing to closely monitor everything that's going on with this particular JIF.
Mr. Capabianco, does that respond? I mean, these are things you probably would not have been aware of unless you asked these questions. So thank you for asking them. Does that respond to your second question and satisfy you?
Partially.
You're a hard man to please, sir. What's the other piece of it?
I have no further public comment.
Fair enough.
So, Michael, I appreciate you helping frame, about Mr. Capibianco's questions. Now, the last one I want to ask from Leon is, Leon, then are we then able to proceed, having had this conversation and, explanations to Mr. Capibianco, to take a vote on this spatial assessment resolution today?
Yes, absent any further public comment or questions by the commissioners, you can proceed to take a vote.
Is it any additional public comment from any member of the public specific to the supplemental assessment today? All right, hearing none, I entertain a motion to close the public hearing on the supplemental assessment.
Motion Frank.
Second, Joe.
All right,
Commissioner Bellino,
Yes.
Commissioner Droolis,
I'd like to vote and make a statement. I vote yes. And I also would like to state that there has been a tremendous amount of work to get all our audit documents forward, that we have obligations under statute to take these actions. Assessments are painful, they're difficult, but they are our responsibility as commissioners. So I vote yes.
Commissioner Delgado,
yes. All right, so I'll take it. This vote was for closing the public hearing. So now we have to take a vote for the voting on the resolution 2024/2023 adoption of the supplemental assessment. So a motion for the resolution.
Motion Frank.
Second, Joe.
Glenn, please.
Commissioner Bellino,
Yes.
Commissioner Droolis,
Yes.
Commissioner Zanga,
Yes.
Commissioner Delgado.
Yes. All right, thank you all. At this point, I'll move to the public comment portion of the meeting. Any public comment? Right? Here, no
Yep. Hi,
public
Charlie
comment.
Cradaville. Can you
Go
hear
ahead,
me?
Bob. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I have to start by saying I am concerned about the JIF's lack of compliance with the Open Public Records Act. Hearing from Mr. Capobianco some of the same things I've experienced in terms of getting responses to records. I know, at your August meeting, Mr. Kurtz said he was going to get me those meeting recordings within a week, and I just received some of them in the mail this week. And I just think that there's a lot that's falling through the cracks when it comes to these OPA requests. I don't know how many other people are out there requesting things from the JIF, but I, for one, am still waiting on the 2023 claims reported and closed files reports, documentation of your actions and decisions at the February 28th meeting, and documents provided by the executive director and her company in pursuit of that position. And I find it troubling that I've had to ask this many times for these things. Many of these are items I've requested for months. And, yesterday I did put all this in writing, and I asked, when will you provide the outstanding records I've requested? I have not received a response yet. Can I get a response to when I will get these records?
Charlie, listen, this will be addressed. So expect to hear from Glenn very shortly, okay?
Okay, I will look forward to that. I have to note for the record that, as I stated on the website, you can go there right now and see for yourself under the agendas. You've got your MCM JIF meeting documents, and the proposed resolution and the exhibit go to the same link. There is no exhibit available, only the proposed resolution, and that is apparently an error. So when you say in your meeting notice relevant documents will be available on the website, they're not. And so I get it that you did display a portion of them on the screen for me, but concerned about the lack of compliance. I know you started off the meeting by saying posting a copy of the meeting notice would be done on the bulletin board of all members. I was just at the parking authority office yesterday. I didn't see any bulletin board, sir. Is there a bulletin board where you posted this at the parking authority?
No.
Okay, and I was in City Hall as well, and I looked for the notice, and there was no notice for this meeting. The outdated annual notice is posted there in the lobby of City Hall. So to a regular person that showed up and looked at that board, they would think that the meeting was yesterday at 1 Jokama Boulevard in Old Bridge. I think the same is true for the county building, where these notices are not getting posted, and it's starting to become a problem. I missed the July meeting because you didn't properly notice. I missed part of the last meeting because you didn't provide the link that you said you would on your website. And I'm just really concerned if the basic stuff is going wrong, like complying with the OPMA, complying with OPRA. I've got to think there's more problems when we get to more serious issues. And I've heard nothing that's going to assuage my concerns at this time. So I've gotten the attorneys involved. You know, I definitely don't want to have to bring this JIF to court, but if we don't achieve compliance with the OPRA and the OPMA, I will have no choice. So I've been trying to have a dialogue with your attorneys about this. I've put a lot of items on the record today, and you know, I'm not feeling good about the situation, especially given the comment from one of the commissioners that you know, the prior hearing devolved.
Charlie,
into
you're
a
over 3
question and
minutes.
answer.
I just want to bring to your attention the time span. All right, you've been over 3 minutes. I gave you leeway, but I think that you need to wrap up.
Okay, I will, and I'll be frank. I don't know what your policy is on public comments because you haven't responded to the OPRA request seeking that information. So you didn't tell me if there was a time limit today. I don't know where you're getting the time limit from.
That was made very
And-
public, Charlie. I'll have Glenn send you another copy. That was adopted several meetings ago. Okay.
Exactly, and I requested it the following day, and I'm still waiting for it. So this is unacceptable. I think there needs to be an investigation into the JIF and you know, compliance with our state laws and how we got to this point, because it's really not looking good. That's all for today. Thank you.
But thank you, Charlie. Any other member of the public would like to address commissioners? Okay, hearing none, I will accept the a motion to go into closed session as required.
Motion, Frank?
Second, Joe.
Glenn?
Commissioner Bueno,
Yes.
Commissioner Drulis,
Just like to add that besides all the hurdles that Mr. Cradaville noted, I'm glad he was able to make it today. Yes.
Commissioner Zanga,
Yes.
Commissioner Delgado.
Yes. Glenn, you have to handle the board.
Yeah.
And then let me know when we're ready.
Glenn, do you need us?
No, you can drop off James and
Good afternoon, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, Mr. Gate.
are we doing claims first, Chair?
Yes, claims and potential.
You
Yes,
still
claim
have, Glenn, you still have Charlie on,
I know.
and I see another Sean Kelly.
He's a risk manager.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Glenn?
Yeah,
Okay. All right, I'll mute it. I just wanted to make sure I'm back on.
all right, they just adjourned out, right out of closed, so
Oh, okay.
take care.
All right, bye-bye. Bye.
No action was taken. Hey, Charlie. You there?